Hello, everybody. Just a couple minutes.
Yes, we do have classic. We have a lot of information to get through. So we're going to start probably at 12 o'clock on the dot.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Oh, it's 12 o'clock on the dot.
All right,
People will jump in as their meetings are ending and such. But welcome everyone. Welcome back to those of you who have been with us the first 2 weeks of our weight management series. And welcome to anyone new. My name's Kristen Turnbull. I'm a registered dietitian and Thrive Health Coach. Along with Carly, we are both on the Thrive Health Coaching team and both dietitians. And so today, week 3, we are chatting on emotional and stress eating, which I think we can all relate to, right? Sometimes it's just something that happens naturally. And so we will go over some strategies to implement and just the reasons behind why it happens. So it's nothing to do, there's no judgment, shame, or nothing like that. It's just emotional eating is very common, so it's important to bring to light. And this one's being recorded. I figured out how to hide everyone's name, so that's good. And then the other one from last week, we're going to record today. So that'll be up on the YouTube page and on our Thrive intranet. Anything else, Carly, before we dive in?
No, that's great.
So today's goal. So we will definitely go over just a bit of a review from weeks 1 and 2. We'll go over what emotional and stress eating is. How to recognize your habit loop. So what might be keeping you stuck in some of these habits and behaviors. We'll learn emotional awareness and then implement some alternative coping strategies if you are someone who finds that emotional and stress eating is a big part of your life. We'll talk rebuilding our relationship with food, which I think we touch on every week. It's such an important piece. We'll go over some resources that are available to you through the health system. And then we'll go over how can we really implement some of these strategies into your week ahead. So with that, little opening quote, if you keep doing what you have always done, you'll keep getting what you have always gone. Yeah, we can all relate to that. So it's really important, especially with emotional and stress eating, it's often running on an automatic. It's just familiar patterns, and we repeat them without really thinking. So if you keep continuing to respond to stress or emotions with those same behaviors, such as reaching for food, right, for comfort, the outcomes won't really change. So we need to interrupt the cycle and get different results. So that's what we'll talk about today.
So quick review. We're going to try to keep this quick because like Kristen said, we have so much information to get through. We're going to try to get it into 30 minutes and we will stay on afterwards for questions. So if you do have questions as we go through the slides, please do put them in the chat and we will come back to them at the end. So review from week 1, when we just talked about nutrition basics. We talked a lot about mindset. So diet mindset versus health mindset for us. This is a non-negotiable part of your weight management, weight loss journey and health journey. You have to have the right mindset. A diet mindset, if you've had a diet mindset for years and you've been on the yo-yo diet cycle, that diet mindset is keeping you stuck. So health mindset, move forward because you want to be healthy, that you're building a life of healthy habits. And relatedly, diet identity versus health and habit identity. Don't identify yourself anymore as someone who's on a diet, who's losing weight. You have to identify yourself as someone who's just building healthy habits, who's just choosing to do healthy things throughout your day. Again, that will help move you forward. That diet mindset and diet identity can help keep you stuck in that diet spiral. And your relationship with food, like Kristen said, this is so important. Your relationship with food and understanding your beliefs and what role food plays in your day and your life is so, so important. Unpacking that backpack of diet culture beliefs where we've all learned, you know, really things that were very, very much unhelpful, like cut calories, you know, restriction, that whole restriction, all or nothing diet mentality is, you know, filled our imaginary backpacks, and we need to unpack all of that and start over. Assessing your current habits. We will say this so much today. You have to know what you're doing. Where are you in your day? What is your pattern of daily habits and behaviors? What's aligned with your health goals? What is not aligned with your health goals? And balance your plate. Again, this is another non-negotiable. If you are someone who wants to be healthy and manage your weight, you've got to get that good protein and fiber at your meals and snacks. There's just so many benefits to eating in this balanced way. And again, adding some healthy fat and non-starchy veggies along the way too in your meals and snacks is very important. Optimizing timing. This can be really helpful for metabolism, where you shift more of your intake earlier in the day and you're not eating so heavy at night. This can be tricky depending on your schedule for sure. So there are ways we can work around that, and we can help you if needed. And track your habits. We have some great handouts and resources on our Thrive Health Coaching intranet site. That there's a habit tracker, the decoding your day, figuring out your habits and behaviors. You've got to just be very aware of your habits and behaviors. In week 2, we talked about meal planning. And then again, this is another non-negotiable. If you want to be someone who's on track and you know, healthy and eventually losing weight. So meal planning, it might seem overwhelming, or that doesn't work for me, I can't do that. We went through lots of ways to you know, different options for meal planning, and just starting small. Start with one meal, work your way up to your whole week. It gets easier over time, just like anything else. You just got to start. Just jump in, take action. Start with planning a snack, a late afternoon snack for the week. Start with just your breakfasts for the next few days. Do something that can save you time, energy, effort, and decision-making fatigue in the future. If you put that effort in sooner, planning ahead can really help make the smart, nutritious choice the easier choice once your busy week starts. Again, you'll save money because you're using, you know, you're using what you need. You already know like what you're going to use your ingredients for your dinner, for your lunch, for your breakfast, whatever it is. So you're going to have exactly what you need instead of a bunch of random ingredients that are just going to go bad. And always, you know, always just simplify things. You don't have to overcomplicate things. We're not running restaurants. We're just people trying to make sure we're getting our nutrients in. So this mix and match might be the easiest way for you to figure out how to build a meal or a snack. Start with the protein. We've got them listed. We have this plate handout on our Thrive Health Coaching intranet site as well, with lots of examples of what we mean by a lean, healthy protein. Choose your protein first, then add a fiber. Same thing. Pick one from one of the list on our site. Protein and fiber together, powerful combination, helps keep you full, helps manage blood sugar, helps activate your body's natural GLP-1. It's giving your body what it needs. Nutrition is just giving your body what it needs to function correctly. And add in those non-starchy vegetables, packed with nutrition for very little calorie, very little carbohydrate. So the benefits of eating in this way are just, they hit all the health goals that you could want. This is anti-inflammatory. This is a way to manage your weight. This is a way to support heart health. This is a way to support healthy brain and aging. So again, the goal is never to eat perfectly, because you don't need to eat perfectly. You want to eat peacefully and nourish your body. That's always the goal. So there's no perfection we're striving for. We want you to just be at peace with all foods and nourish your body. You need to give your body what it needs to function. So emotional eating, we kind of all have an idea of what this is, but we're going to get very specific. So there's physical hunger and emotional hunger, and they are different. So the onset of physical hunger develops slowly over time as your body needs to be refueled. Just like your gas tank in your car, as when the fuel is running out, your body's going to send signals that it's hungry. So sometimes we think we're mad when we're hungry. I shouldn't be hungry. Why am I always hungry? You're supposed to be hungry if your body needs to be fueled and if your body's asking for nutrition. Emotional hunger, you know, if there was a stress or emotional trigger, it comes on suddenly and it feels very urgent, and you want instant gratification. So the preference When you're physically hungry, you're open to various foods, but when you're, again, when it's emotional eating, you tend to be focused and craving specific types of comfort foods. And the sensation, again, for physical hunger, we've all felt that we're just like low energy because, blood sugar's dipping, stomach's growling, we feel physically hungry. But that emotional hunger, you're craving immediate gratification. It feels very urgent. The aftermath. This is what I really want you to focus on, the aftermath and the after effects. After you've eaten food to your physical hunger satisfaction, you feel well, you feel refueled, you go on with your day. The aftermath of emotionally eating, sometimes it's a binge eating situation. Often there's shame, guilt, regret. You might not feel physically well. You might feel bloated, overfull, stuffed, because sometimes it just happens so fast and can be very mindless. And again, that sense of urgency often makes you eat more than you were actually hungry for. And you probably didn't savor or enjoy the act of eating because you were so focused on the anticipation and wanting the immediate gratification. So why do we turn to food? Lots of reasons. Psychological associations, a lot of our early childhood experiences were linked to food. We are a very food-centric world. So, dessert is a reward. There's treats on special occasions. This all creates a habit loop. Not that this is good or bad. It's just important to know that we create these habit loops. Social and cultural reasons. Special foods linked to various holidays. There's good memories always involve food. And this repeated reinforcement creates a habit loop. A biological stress response. Stress triggers a whole cascade of physical responses inside our body, the fight or flight system, which can increase cravings for higher energy foods. And repeated occasions of this type of eating creates a habit loop. So the important thing is to recognize the habit loop and you want to break the cycle of that habit loop. So be aware of your habit loops. There's, when it comes to emotional eating, there's the emotional stress cue, the trigger. Something triggers this response. These are mental shortcuts. Your brain is always trying to automate processes. It's trying to be efficient. Your brain is built for survival. It's not necessarily built for helping you make good decisions. It's built for survival. It's going to try to take shortcuts with repeated behaviors. It's building these mental shortcuts. So when you experience the cue or the trigger, your brain jumps to anticipating the reward, which in this case, that reward is food. The trained response is for you to go get the food. And sometimes that's why it feels so urgent. So it's that anticipation of the reward that releases dopamine, and that makes your cravings feel really strong. And it's always this anticipation of the reward that drives the behavior. So a great idea to try to break the cycle is, what if we stopped focusing on the anticipation? Sometimes we're just anticipating the taste because something tastes good, then what else does it have for you? If you focus on the after effects, that can be very powerful. That can be enough to, make you kind of pause and say, what, I don't like how I'm going to feel after that, either physically or emotionally. So focusing on the after effects instead of focusing on the anticipation can be very helpful. So when you pause long enough to notice the trigger, you gain the power to change the pattern. It always comes back to being aware of what you're doing. What are your daily habits and behaviors?
I love that quote. It's so true. And I think that, so we just in summary, I guess, to what Carly was talking about, understanding the stress response and your habits related to food is so important. And it's usually step one in any sort of, healing of a relationship with food. So again, this slide just kind of wraps up. It explains why we do what we do and why there is such thing as stress eating. Which is kind of nice, because then when you understand the biology, like what's happening internally, it kind of allows you to drop those feelings of shame, because you finally see that it's something emotional is happening. It's not a character flaw. There's nothing wrong with you. It's like a predictable body response. So when your stress response activates, your body isn't trying to like sabotage you. It's trying to protect you. That's the whole point of all this. So cortisol, like Carly mentioned, it's really there to give you that fuel to get through stressful situations. And so it signals to the body, we need energy right now, we need calories, we need something quick. And so that's why typically when we're stressed, our hunger goes up, our cravings are more intense. Balanced meals feel less appealing in the moment, right? Because you want that quick energy. And those foods might be bread, chips, sweets, all those yummy things that they feel irresistible because we know they give us the quick energy. So it's not a lack of willpower, which we hear a lot. If people are like, I have no willpower. It's like, no, there's so many different factors that go into why we eat the way we do. So it's actually just biology. There's something happening internally. And again, the body does prefer carbohydrates because of that dopamine release. So it's a feel-good hormone that gets released when we have those carbohydrates. The tricky part is that if we get caught up in this cycle of choosing food as that comfort and as that reward when we're feeling stressed, over time, it can lead to obviously, weight gain or just general kind of disordered eating habits. And just our baseline appetite goes up because our cortisol is naturally higher. So stress management is a whole other can of worms, but it really does relate a lot. Like if you can manage your stress better and have better alternatives to cope with some of these emotions, it really makes a big difference. And then, so another little idea you can do is, really understand your emotions before you make any decisions. If anyone has heard of HALT before, it's a nice little method to keep note of, because emotional eating often begins a while before we reach for food. It's recognizing what you're feeling in the moment and then pausing and responding intentionally before we just make quick decisions. So it's really understanding what does my body actually need. So the H is for hungry. So it's a time to sit and think, am I physically hungry or am I emotionally hungry? Because we both know different things. Like Carly said, physical hungry, you'll be feeling the stomach going, low blood sugar, irritable, maybe a headache. Those are kind of some signs that your body needs the fuel versus emotional hunger, which feels very sudden and urgent and very specific, like on a certain food, you need that food ASAP. So if you're truly feeling hungry, you need nourishment. It's nothing to do with willpower. Same with angry and anxious. Like if you're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, upset about something, feeling very frustrated or stressed, it heightens your nervous system. So you then crave those feel-good hormones, right? You want those quick foods to get the dopamine and the serotonin. And so it can lead to fast and reactive eating. Lonely is one that we often kind of leave out, but it's so important. And it doesn't mean you're physically alone in a room. It can, but it's also the emotions behind lonely. Like, are you craving connection? Are you craving support? Do you feel disconnected or emotionally depleted? Those are all under the lonely category. So perhaps it's taking a pause, recognizing I'm feeling some of those lonely emotions, text a friend, pet your dog, do whatever you need to do to kind of find that connection before you then choose food. And then tired is a big one, running around all day, stress, plus we maybe skipped lunch, we had to go to a meeting, whatever. The day is always chaotic. We come home feeling physically and mentally drained. So again, take a pause and then think, what do I need to do here? And then just notice what your body's telling you. Other signs, rapid heartbeat or tension. That's a sign, your body might be going through some stress and anxiety. Restlessness or boredom. This is very common, especially in the evenings. Maybe it's quieter time and you get a little bit bored. Sometimes we choose to eat to kind of fill that void. But it might actually just mean you need some stimulation. Like maybe it's exercise or doing a puzzle or just something to use your brain. Maybe that's what you need to do first. And then low energy or fogginess might just reflect, again, lack of sleep, tired, blood sugar dip, lots of different things. And then recognizing your triggers. So many different triggers at play when it comes to what we eat. Number one, emotional triggers, again, a lot of those emotions with stress, anxiety, sadness, loneliness, boredom. An example here, feeling overwhelmed at work. We've all been there. Or lonely and bored in the evening. So then you reach for that crunchy, salty, satisfying snack. That's very common. So those would be linked to emotions. Environmental triggers might be certain places you go, times of the day, maybe a nighttime is tough for you, or afternoons. Sensory cues, social situations, you go to a party or a gathering, usually lots of food there. Sometimes we choose that as our comfort when we're kind of feeling socially anxious. Situational conflict. If you have a conflict with a coworker or a family member, if you have deadlines you have to meet, caregiving demands, busy routines and schedules, that all can lead to our food choices. A common one we hear is like busy mornings where you're rushed and you just end up grabbing something in the drive-thru on the way to work because you just have so much going on, and that's what you need in that moment is I need to stop and get a muffin or something quick because you know it gives you that comfort. Biological, so lack of sleep, blood sugar dips, chronic stress, again, kind of went over that, but also being dehydrated and you feel snacky can sometimes just be a time to think, am I actually thirsty? Maybe I should drink some water first before I reach for the chips. And then thought-based, so all or nothing thinking and self-critical self-talk, which we say every single week. So important. And just taking a moment to recognize some of those thoughts could be step one also to change. And so taking action. So, okay, great. All this information, triggers to be aware of, but then what do you do? What do we implement to make some changes? So, example, emotional triggers. Maybe it's taking a 90-second pause, noticing those emotions. What am I actually feeling right now? And then making a different decision. Again, takes time, doesn't change overnight. This is a habit you have to unlearn. But you can also try alternative ideas, having some tea and doing a puzzle, taking a warm shower, then calling a friend, like something to kind of give you those emotions without choosing food. Stretching, walking, coloring, journaling, so much. Environmental is a huge one. I think like reducing the cues. So if you notice you are a snacker when you watch TV at night, so maybe you're noticing, ooh, when the TV's on, that's what really drives me to eat. So maybe we have to change up the routine at night, or put the snacks out of sight, or just set up a TV timer that goes off so you're not lingering for too long. Keeping healthy options visible. Changing locations in the evening for a mental reset, so switching up the routine. Swapping the TV with the snacks, maybe TV and stretching, or TV and knitting, something using your hands. And then creating zones. This is a huge one if you work from home, because sometimes people will bring their lunch and eat at their desk when they're working. Try your best to separate. I know we're busy, we've got a lot going on. Just try your best to separate there. And then use a 2-minute reset for situational stress buffer snacks. So if you feel like you want to implement a snack in the afternoon to kind of help with that nighttime eating, be on a schedule the best you can with eating, and after conflict, go for a walk, leave the room before we choose food. And I'm just noticing it is 12:22, so I'm going to try and go faster. Here are some other ideas. So biological triggers, setting reminders to eat, choosing balanced meals, keeping a water bottle, prioritizing wind down routine to improve your sleep, and eat before you become overly hungry to prevent the emotional eating. That's a huge one. And then those are some thought-based reframes. So if you're getting caught up in the all or nothing thinking, or saying, I deserve this, I've had a stressful day, pause. Well, what do I actually need right now? What else can give me comfort? Those kind of things to tell yourself. So healing emotional eating starts with curiosity and not criticism. No need to beat yourself up. This is all a learning process. And again, it's all biological. So just be curious before you criticize.
So with curiosity, perfect segue into mindfulness. So again, mindfulness is just a way of being very aware of the moment and what's happening in the moment and what are you doing. Again, we all know what mindless eating is. Mindful eating means you understand exactly what you're doing. You are completely engaged with all of your senses. And something very powerful that, again, Kristen mentioned pausing. The power of the pause is very critical. If you feel like you're making food-based decisions from emotions and stress, take a 5-minute pause. Again, when needing a food feels so urgent and you're just looking, your brain is just focused on immediate gratification, recognize that and step back. It's not easy, again, if you're stuck in this habit loop for decades, but it is important to recognize where you are in your habit loop and take this pause, assess your type of hunger, reflect on your current state of mind. And just like we keep saying, what does your body need from you now? Is that food actually going to bring you comfort, make you feel better, or just you believe that because you're focused on the anticipation and not the after effects? So take deep breaths. Deep breaths from your diaphragm can, activate your vagus nerve, which helps you reset your nervous system sometimes. So take this 5-minute pause, deep breaths. And once you have the food, still be mindful in the moment. Don't just binge eat and mindless eat so you're not even enjoying the food. So how does that food look? Appreciate everything about the food in front of you, whether it's a treat food or whether it's something that's, has good nutrition. Just appreciate the food and what it's bringing you at that moment. And if it's possible, don't rush. Sometimes we have to eat quickly, but a lot of the times we're just still eating quickly without chewing properly. So if you can, again, take the time to savor and appreciate the food. You can have a couple cookies. Don't eat the whole sleeve of cookies so quickly because you feel like it's bad for you and I need to do this right now, and you're just caught up in the craving. Have a couple pieces of whatever food it is and savor it, enjoy it, and appreciate it, and try not to be distracted when you're eating as best you can. Sometimes it's not possible, but if you can just stay in that moment and stay mindful, that can be very powerful. So some of the strategies that we've talked about, again, awareness. We can't say this enough. Just be aware of what your habits are. What are your habit loops? What are your responses? What are you doing at different parts of the day? And you have to be willing to make a change. We can't do that for you. So you're the one that's in charge of you. You have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone and break this cycle. So being mindful, taking that 5-minute pause, and again, thinking about the after effects of the food, of what you're about to eat, especially when you understand it feels very sudden and urgent and immediate. Just think about the emotional value that you've put on the food. And remember, food is just food. Meal planning and prepping. Again, when you've got stuff ready to go, you can grab something that's going to serve your body. Again, what does your body need from you? That's such an important question to keep asking. Does my body need this comfort food from me right now? Maybe the answer is yes. Maybe it's like, that's enough to make you think twice about eating that food and having that be your go-to. Become food neutral. This is a huge, huge, powerful concept where you understand that food is just food. There's no good, there's no bad. Take all of those labels off of the food. Food is not a reward. Food is not the occasion. Food is not the holiday. Food is not the memory. Food is not an escape. It's just food. Food was part of all of those things, but food was not the thing. So food is nourishment. Food is fuel. Food has nutrients in it that we need for our body to function properly. Some food has more of that. Some food has less of that. Some food tastes good. Some food doesn't. Just be food neutral. That's a great, great way to be. So some coping alternatives. The goal for moving away from the habit loop of emotional eating and just being food neutral and other, reaching for other coping strategies, we want to take the focus off of the food. Food is sometimes just an easy go-to, but it doesn't make it the right choice. So remove your emotional attachment to different foods. You might just love, chocolate chip cookies because they remind you of your grandmother. Okay, those cookies are still just cookies. They're not the memory of your grandmother. We kind of tangle everything up in memories and occasions and beliefs. So remove your emotional attachment to food. Focus on the after effects of eating the food, whether it makes you feel good or doesn't make you feel good. And we really want you to eventually get to a place where you're coexisting peacefully and confidently around all foods. where you don't feel like you can't have something in the house because you can't trust yourself with it. We want you to eventually coexist peacefully and confidently with all the foods and unpack all of those diet culture beliefs for sure. So to regulate your emotions in the moment, again, break that habit loop. Physical activity. Again, this is another non-negotiable for just overall health, but when it comes to emotional regulation, a short walk, stretching, yoga, those can activate your rest and digest system and deactivate your fight or flight system. Breathing techniques, journaling, meditation, practicing thoughts of gratitude, all of these things, creative outlets, social support, seeking professional counseling, and remembering your health goals. Those are all different ways to cope with different stressful situations. So remember, food is not a reward. It's just food. Food is just food. Be intentional, respectful with your body, focus on the after effects. And I know we have like 2 seconds left. Be aware of your emotions and your triggers. Don't judge them and don't ignore them. You have to be aware of them in order to fix the part in the cycle that you want to fix. Check your mindset. That negative self-talk and all or nothing mentality reinforces the habit loop, and reflect on your day. Don't underfuel yourself and then wonder why you're starving later at night. So that's very important to be consistent with good nutrition. So again, change is not going to happen to you just by existing unless you change first. So act like the version of yourself that you want to become, and don't just wait and hope for it to happen. Take that action.
And then, how much time? Oh, it's 12:30. Okay, hopefully some of you guys can stay on just for a few more minutes. We've just a couple more slides left. So food relationship reset. So this is huge. So being able to assess your relationship to food. And it's actually one of the most important factors in healing emotional and stress eating, because emotional eating isn't really about the food. Like Carly was saying, it's about the meaning and the memories and the habits and the coping strategies that we get attached to over time. So big ones, removing the guilt and shame. Again, food is neutral. There's no good or bad, or you're not good, like, or bad. Like when people say, oh, I was so bad today. No, 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 no. We don't want to say that kind of stuff. It keeps us stuck there. Using positive self-talk. Talk to yourself like you would a friend or a family member you love. And then at the end of the day, long-term habits is what you're kind of striving for. And if you see the picture down there in the corner, it's a bumpy ride. It's not going to be a straightforward, easy journey with our health. It does take, some time and some effort and some small setbacks, but we just have to keep moving forward. A big one I forgot to mention is swapping the criticism for facts. So if you think I failed, I'm bad, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Switch that around to I'm learning, I'm adjusting, this is all new to me, or I'm, recognizing some of the habits I didn't know before. Little things to reset how you speak to yourself. And then reflecting on your day is so important as well. We kind of talked about this too, but most emotional or stress eating feels very spontaneous. So it's good to reflect on your day and be like, okay, what went wrong here? What could I have done better next time to avoid this happening again? Try asking yourself, did I even eat enough today? Right? You might be getting home late and then you're ravenous and you notice, oh, I didn't even eat lunch today. Yes. Did you have enough protein and fiber to regulate your blood sugars so you weren't getting that crash? Did you drink enough water, or were you relying on the caffeine? Some of us do. I mean, I do some days. It's a caffeine day. Did you listen to your hunger cues? Were you mindful when you ate your lunch or your breakfast? Did you move your body? You have maybe a little bit too much sugar that made you kind of crash later, or did you just have an extra tired day? So it's all just reflection is so key. Like Carly said, it's like step one, just becoming aware. And then seeking additional support. It's okay to ask for help. Sometimes, I mean, you certainly could reach out to Carly and I to work together on some strategies, but sometimes it can be more of a mental health concern you really want to look into. So here are some patterns to kind of be aware of. If you're noticing your eating feels out of control, so maybe you feel like you're unable to stop, it's becoming really impulsive, you often eat past discomfort, so you're getting to a point where you're in pain, like that could be a pattern to notice. or when your emotions feel unmanageable. So maybe it's food is the only coping tool you have right now. It's impacting your day-to-day life, your work, your relationships. Maybe you're avoiding social situations because you feel like it's not a safe area for you to go in terms of food. Constantly thinking about food, or intense feelings of guilt or frustration around food. So those are just some patterns just to think about with your own day-to-day life. And lucky with employee well-being, we have some great resources that are available to you. Hopefully we've mentioned EFR before, in Employee and Family Resource Program, free and confidential work-life support service for all employees. So it's free counseling. The number is there and they're available 24/7. The vendor that we use is Carolyn. That's the name of the vendor. So they would we'd set up appointments with them. They also have Talkspace, which is just essentially a different option. So it's a virtual text message counseling service through Carolyn. That's just a different option if you would prefer something more kind of, I don't want to say informal, but more kind of easier for you in your busy lifestyle. And then meditations, we have Take 10 meditations every single day throughout the weekdays. This is also put on by EFR. And they're just a 10-minute, 10-minute live guided meditation on Teams. You just sit there, relax, listen. You don't need to be on camera. You don't need to say anything. It's just a time for you in your day to take a second, take a breath, and just relax. So those are the links to register or get that sent to you is on the Thrive intranet, which I'll put in the chat here in a second. Same with the Carolyn and Talkspace flyers are also on the intranet on our health coaching resources page. And then we also have the monthly mindfulness, which is, again, Employee and Family Resources. They have a monthly mindfulness webinar that you can join, second Wednesday of every month, and they cover different topics. So Cecily is our mindfulness instructor. So her email's there if you have questions, or you can also find it on the intranet, which I will post in the chat. Those are great resources to really take advantage of. But yeah, so just to kind of wrap it up, a last little quote here. What is the version of yourself that you want to be in 1 year? Think of that for a second. What is the version of yourself you will be if nothing changes? And again, it all comes down to us. Like we have to put that foot in front of the other and make the changes, but it doesn't have to be everything at once. It can be small steps.
So for your week up ahead, hopefully if you've joined us for parts 1 and 2, each week you are taking away the action steps that we discuss at the end. So by now we hope you understand how to eat in a balanced way to get the right nutrients, again, just to help your body function at its best. And planning meals, put yourself in a good position for success. And today, understanding your, emotional and stress triggers for sure. So awareness, we want you to just keep being very aware of your habits and your behaviors. Your patterns is what ultimately leads you down different paths. So if your pattern is full of choices that are not aligned with your health goals, you're going to go that direction. If your patterns are full of choices that are aligned with health goals, you're going to go that direction. So build awareness. Use the HALT check-in. Am I hungry, angry, anxious, lonely, tired? Do I understand my emotional, environmental triggers? Name them. Be very clear with yourself. Don't judge. This is, again, finding information about yourself without judgment, and support your body. Again, nourishing foods ultimately is what supports your body, and that's what makes you feel better. The aftermath. Use that 5-minute pause when cravings are hit. Again, when something comes on very suddenly and you need immediate gratification, take a pause. What does my body need from me right now? Am I so focused on the anticipation that I'm not thinking about the after effects of what I'm about to do? Strengthen your environment. Understand, is your workspace, your home area, are they supportive for your goals? Maybe tempting foods for now as you're working on yourself need to be, it may be more out of sight, tucked away, or you're not buying them right now. Again, we want to work to a place where you can coexist peacefully with all foods around you without having strong feelings either way and being food neutral. But just simplify things. Just make sure you've got good choices readily available and practice emotional coping in other ways. Figure out some other go-to responses besides food. Go to take a 2-minute walk, go to a crossword puzzle, call a friend, go pet your dog, like Kristen said. Find these other alternative ways to cope with your feelings. Shift that mindset. We hear all the time, oh, I messed up, I had a cheat day, forget it, everything's ruined. It's not ruined. You're a person. We're all people. We all eat in different ways at different times for different reasons. It's always your pattern. Is your pattern full of good for you choices? It doesn't need to be perfect. Every single thing you do, every food you eat doesn't need to be perfect to be healthy and to reach your goals. But most of the things you do need to be, good choices in order for you to move towards your goals. So aim for your pattern. So what is one small action you can do this week between now and next week's our final webinar that's going to help move you in the direction of your health goals?
Feel free to type it in the chat. Have an idea. But that is the end of week 3. So I'm sorry we went about 10 minutes over. It's a lot of info.
So much. We had so much to say.
But someone did make a comment to post the slides, so I'll do that. I'll post the slides, and then also this is being recorded, so we'll have that up on the website as well. Any questions or any other thoughts?
We can stay on for a little bit if there's any questions.
Someone said they'll be petting my cats. Love it.
I have a cat and a dog, and love it.
I missed last week's slides. Are they available on the website? I will put them. I will make sure they're on there. Yeah.
The recording for last week's webinar will also be posted by late afternoon today.
Yep. Slides will be up there. Lots of resources. I put the EFR and the Talkspace resources up there. And lots of good stuff.
And again, we encourage you to go look through the resources that we've posted, on our intranet site. Please do, look at the Decoding Your Day handout. It's very wordy, but it really can help you understand where you are in your day. And that habit tracker, just tracking your habits, being aware of what you're doing. Oh, someone said got the protein pasta.
Yes, oh, nice.
I like it. It's just got fiber, and protein. It's got, it tastes like real pasta, and it's just got some added chickpea and pea protein in it too.
Oh, I just posted the link up above in the chat for someone looking for our website. But if I'll just post it again.
You have to be on the employee intranet, the YNHH intranet, and then go to departments and communities, just like this picture right here, and look for T for Thrive. Unfortunately, it's not under E for employee well-being. It's under T for Thrive, and that's the umbrella term for all of the employee well-being programs. Sometimes it's tricky, but yes, food neutral is so important. We put so much emotional value on different foods that are wrapped up in memories and occasions, and we feel like we have to have them, or else it's not, the occasion. But it's just food. Food is food. Some taste good, some doesn't. And again, ask yourself, beyond the taste, why am I so focused on this food? It's really interesting when you just start peeling away at the layers.
Yeah. What was I going to say? So just in terms of next week is our final week. We'll be talking about just like making long-lasting change, goal setting, all that good stuff. And then in March, we have just a one-off. On March 11th, we have a webinar on nutrition label reading, which,
it's nutrition month. Nutrition month, yes.
So that link is on the website to register, as well as we're doing a women's health 4-week, similar to what we did here, a 4-week webinar series on women's health. And that's also up, ready to go. So you can register for that on the website.
And if you're having trouble getting to our resources, you can reach out to us directly. You could just go to thrivehealthcoaching@ynhh.org and let us know if you want us to email you some of the resources.
Yep. Yeah.
We just want you to take good care of yourselves.
Yes. And honestly, these are good for us too, because when we're presenting on this, it makes us reflect on our own lives too. So I feel like my habits have been better lately because I'm just more aware.
Right.
So.
And forgiving, very forgiving of, why I do always mindlessly eat in the evening when I'm sitting on the couch watching TV. You know what I mean? So just recognizing what you're doing throughout your day. You know, we're just always so busy moving through our days on autopilot because your brain is building those mental shortcuts. But if you can just be like an observer of yourself, it's really amazing to see what you do and focusing on your wins. We get really down on ourselves with the negative self-talk of, oh, I can't do this. I have no willpower. I messed up again. We just are very self-critical. Again, that's a way of we were built for survival. So we were built to look at the threats and the negative things to keep ourselves alive. We weren't built for happiness. So you do have to practice happiness. You have to practice looking at the good things. And when it comes to weight, you know, if weighing yourself makes you feel bad, don't weigh yourself. It's not going to stop you from losing weight if you don't weigh yourself. There's plenty of other things you can go by. You can go by how your clothes fit, how you are physically feeling is a big one. If you're someone that used to be bloated all the time and now you're not, that's a great sign. If you're someone that was constipated and didn't have regular bowel movements and now you do, that's an amazing sign.
That's a huge win.
That's a huge one. And we talk about all the things. So just focusing on how you're nourishing your body throughout the day. Are you getting your nutrients in is very interesting.
I agree.
So Weight Watchers. So pros and cons to Weight Watchers. They've evolved a lot over the years where it just like everything else used to be focused on weight and points, and some foods were bad and some foods were good. I think that did mess us up a lot because I still talk to people that say, oh my gosh, almonds are 6 points on Weight Watchers. I can't have those. Where we're very wrapped up in the calorie level and we think it's bad. So it's hard. It's definitely helped some people. There's the support groups and the weekly meetings. You know, those are really lovely. It's really what's best for you to keep you in a healthy mindset. We don't want anyone to be in a diet mindset where all you're thinking about is how many points this food is worth. We want you to focus on, is my plate balanced? Do I have some protein and some fiber?
Am I feel today?
Enjoying this? How do I feel? What does my body need from me today? So if following a diet with rules sometimes just makes you kind of focus and obsess over food in a way that's not really healthy or helpful. So again,
I also find like with Weight Watchers in particular, it's more the accountability that people find really helpful.
Yeah.
Because they have the app and sometimes they go to meetings, so it kind of keeps them on track. So it's actually it is something to do with the point system, but also just having someone to kind of hold them accountable or something to hold them accountable. So you can definitely enroll in Thrive Health Coaching and we can help you be accountable if that's something you're accountability
partner. Yeah, for sure.
Is Weight Watchers, you have to pay for that, right? It's a pay for, I don't know. I think it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's again, like Carly said, whatever works for you, whatever makes you feel like you can do something consistently and feel good.
If there's like a diet, and again, diets don't work because they're not built for ever. You know, if you have the mindset, oh, I'm just going to do this diet for a few weeks to kickstart weight loss, that doesn't work. You might lose weight because of water weight, you losing muscle. But then once you go back to a regular pattern, even if it's very healthy foods, that weight comes back. So you've got this yo-yo, you know, what we call weight cycling. So ultimately, it's important to unpack all of that and just focus on the process goals, the habits, the good habits that are good for your body. And that is what's sustainable. Again, consider yourself a person who's building a life of healthy habits that are going to support a healthy weight. They're going to support, healthy heart, good blood sugar. It's all the same pattern of eating that we talk about. So identifying yourself as somebody who's building a life of healthy habits, and stop identifying yourself as someone who's on a diet trying to lose weight.
Yeah. And to get stuck there. These are great questions though.
Yeah. So do what works for you, which is going to keep you healthy. It's so important to make sure you're giving your body nutrients. Again, I think we get wrapped up in restricting low calorie, the least amount of calories. We're not thinking about the quality of the food and actually giving our body what it needs. So making sure you're getting your proteins, your fiber, your healthy fat, your vegetables, your water, just giving your body what it needs. And then is this situation sustainable for you? Can you keep up with this for your life? Because again, we're building lifestyle habits.
Yeah.
Is it better to focus on macros versus calories? I'd say it's better to focus on the nutrients. So sort of macros. So not getting too caught up in the numbers per se, but in the balance where you're focusing on getting a serving of protein, you're focusing on getting a serving of fiber. So that's a great place to start. And then if you fill the rest of your meal out with lots of non-starchy vegetables, that automatically manages the calories for you. So it's right. Just watching calories doesn't necessarily equate to getting the right nutrients in, or, getting the quality foods and giving your body what it needs. Yeah. So I think it's better to focus on getting your protein and your fiber and a little bit of healthy fat.
I usually say, starting with focusing on the foods you're putting in your mouth, like what are you eating? Focusing on feeling better first, like, okay, I'm eating more whole foods, I'm eating more protein, etc. And then if you really don't see the scale shift, and that is a goal of yours, let's say, then you could start looking at macro calories.
The little things, right? Yes. Then that's where, you look at.
But starting with, like Carly said, nutrition first.
Foundation. Build the foundation.
There we go. Foundation first.
Yeah. So if you've got that good foundation, that can really help a lot.
Yeah.
Because again, eating in a way where you do focus on the protein and fiber and a little bit of healthy fat, those nutrients help keep you full. So that will also kind of help decrease calories through the day without you having to think about calories, because you feel full and you're not like starving and you're not on that blood sugar roller coaster. So the more carb heavy meals you eat, actually, the more hungry you get and you're on the blood sugar roller coaster.
Yes, and it's hard to get off of that.
And it's hard to get off of that.
Yeah.
So again, one instance of a bowl of pasta is not going to mess up anything. It's what do you do after that? If you can be consistent with protein and fiber, some healthy fat, lots of vegetables at each meal as much as possible and each snack, then that's going to immensely help your appetite, control your hunger, and it's also just giving your body what it needs.
Yeah. The post-lunch crash too, if anyone struggles with the post-lunch crash, look at your lunch and thinking, right, what am I eating at my lunch? Because maybe it's too high in carbohydrates, right? And you're getting them
unbalanced. Yeah.
Or even further, what did you have for breakfast? Right. So it's always good. Reflect on your day and make small adjustments and just see how you feel.
Sure. I know. I love food. Kristen and I love all foods. We eat all. But we are just people trying to take care of our health. So we are mindful about what we put in our bodies. For the most part, we're going to have some protein and fiber for all of our meals. We certainly go out, we have, pizza, sometimes we have cocktails, but that's not our regular pattern, if that makes sense. So the 80-20 principle is important too, where 80% of the time you're eating foods that are nourishing your body and giving it what it needs. 20% of the time are the treat foods that don't have the nutrients, but they taste good and you like them. That's totally valid. So you just want to make sure you're focusing on giving your body what it needs. And then, sprinkle in those times of just some treat foods.
Yeah. Yeah. We all struggle with it from now and again. It's just part of being human and living in this. I mean, food is very accessible now. You can go anywhere and get something very quick. So it makes it a little bit different. Makes it more challenging sometimes.
All right. Any other questions or thoughts?
Anything else?
Anything people are going to start working on?
Make a note right now to make sure that last week's slides are up on intranet. Actually, I'll just put up 1 and 2 myself. And these ones will go up, and then we'll get our videos up, and then that'll all be good to go. There's only two of us, so
I know.
we try and do it all.
We're a
But you know
two-lady
what?
show.
It's fun. We like doing all that.
It's so fun. We love doing
Keeps
this.
us busy.
We love talking about this stuff. You can't tell. We knew this week would have a lot of information because it's a lot to think about. Again, just stepping back outside of yourself and watching what you do and why you do what you do from a very neutral, non-judgmental place.
Mm-hmm. And these are the types of conversations I wish I had heard when I was a teenager, or or just you don't understand. You learn this stuff, but no one tells you this really when you're younger, and that can really dictate your habits going forward. So,
no, right? We knew vegetables were good for us, like basics, but we didn't know why. And we were just inundated with diet culture messages.
100%. Yep. And then it's no one's fault, but just women in our lives or whoever if they're having some of these habits, it's easy to pick up on as a kid and then, continue. So, but it's all a learning curve.
Right. We're all just people trying to do better. That's all it is. Just, can you be better today than you were yesterday?
We're trying to live our best life, the best we can.
Yeah.
So. Well,
thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
Yeah. If you have any more thoughts, throw them in the chat right now. Or again, you can email us at thrivehealthcoaching@ynhh.org if you need anything else. But we hope you join us for the last part of this weight management series next week, where we talk about goals.
Yes. All right. Have a good rest of your week, everyone.
Take care of yourselves.